What's going on, guys? I'm Ian with the Strictly Business Podcast with my co-host Aiden, Connor, Ethan, and we are here with
Ian and Angelo from TikTok.
There you go. All right. Do you want to just give a brief synopsis of what you do on TikTok, stuff like that?
Yeah. So I mostly make videos on the Celtics and basketball and pretty much just all the sports stuff. And yeah, I live stream the Celtics games, and then after it, I just make like a post game video after every game.
All right. So when did you start making videos on TikTok, and why did you start making videos on TikTok?
So I started making videos on TikTok like 2 years ago, and I really only downloaded TikTok because it was a joke. And because at the time nobody really took TikTok seriously, and I was like, oh, just wanted to see what it was about. And then I downloaded it, and I just started making videos, and I just kept making them for no reason.
Yeah. And then when did you start to gain followers? Because now you have quite a few followers.
Yeah. So I made TikTok for a while, and I never really got anywhere with my videos, and then I kind of really started to get followers around the NBA playoffs, and that's when I started making my Celtics videos. And I don't know if you guys listen to Polo G, but I used the three-headed go verse from Lil Durk song. I used the Polo G's verse, and I would make a video after every Celtics game, and they really started to blow up after that. And so that's pretty much where my TikTok started to blow up.
Yeah, I remember seeing those on my For You page about the Raptors series and all those series.
Yeah.
That's sweet. When did you start really following the Celtics?
So I always knew about the Celtics growing up because I live in Massachusetts. So growing up, I always knew about the Celtics. I never really started following them until around 2016 when Isaiah Thomas was there.
Yeah, Avery Bradley team.
Yeah, the Isaiah Thomas, Avery Bradley team.
Yeah, that team was nice.
It was a pretty good team back then.
Yeah, I like that.
Now you're on a podcast right now. Do you have any plans of starting a podcast about sports or the Celtics or something like that?
Yeah, I always thought about it. I know I've been on this podcast, and I was on one of my friends' podcasts too, and I really enjoyed doing it. I was always thinking about doing it, but right now I'm kind of I'm in school right now, and now probably isn't the greatest time for me because I'm trying to focus on school at the same time as doing all this other stuff I got going on. So probably over the summer, I'd probably start a podcast if I was going to start one yet.
Yeah. Do you follow any of the other Boston sports teams, or are you pretty strictly basketball?
I follow all the Boston sports teams. Growing up, I was a huge Red Sox fan and a huge Bruins fan growing up, and I didn't start watching basketball, really following it until high school. Because mostly, I don't know why, I just never really watched it, but now I follow all of them. I always try to follow all of them, try to keep up with everything.
What sparked your interest in basketball, following basketball?
Honestly, the thing that sparked my interest the most was it just kind of the story of it, because I watch sports like baseball and stuff where you play 162 games and the playoffs are pretty fun, but in basketball it felt like there was a story that was happening every single night. And then watching Isaiah Thomas and this guy who's 5'9", just dominate people, it was just interesting to me, and so then I was just kind of hooked from there.
Do you follow any of the March Madness every year, the stories and that?
Honestly, I'm not really that big a fan of college basketball. I don't really know why. I just never really watched it. But I knew when Zion was there, I kind of knew that. But I still watch the March Madness just to watch it and see all the upsets and stuff like that. But,
yeah.
Right now you're going to college, and you said you might want to start a podcast. Does your major have anything to do with media, or how are you focusing on that in your courses you're taking?
Yeah, so I am a business major right now, and at the moment I'm taking video, introduction to video and TV production classes and stuff like that right now, because I do really want to get into social media marketing and making videos for sports teams and stuff like that. So that's really what I want to do, and honestly, trying to take classes to figure out the best way to do that now. So
Did your TikTok career kind of like spark that a little bit and cause you to kind of be like, hey, this is something I want to pursue, or was it kind of unrelated?
I will say TikTok was kind of a big part of it because in high school, I took I went to a trade school in high school and I took marketing, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing like social media, like making posts about it. Like I never really like knew how to make social media like take off like that, like how to make it like popular. And then TikTok kind of came around, and when that kept like popping off, and I kept doing like the sports stuff that I really like doing, I'm like, damn, I probably could make a career out of this. Like, I don't necessarily know if it's like just going to be my brand, but if it was for making videos and social media posts for a sports team, I'd really enjoy doing that.
Yeah, and it seems like in terms of brands, it looks like you got your own merch on. How'd that idea start? Was it just like, oh, let's do it, see if people buy it, or was there like, did people talk to you and be like, hey, if you made merch, I'd buy it? Like how did that idea kind of come up?
Yeah, so the merch was kind of funny where like I just remember in the live streams every time like someone on the Celtics would score, I would always yell like "Atta boy," like whoever it was, and like somebody, I don't know, it was like some random guy commenting, he's like, damn, it'd be funny if you put that on a shirt. And I thought about it, I'm like, huh, maybe that would be funny if I put it on a shirt. So like I just kind of made the merch. I didn't really expect like it to just like go off like that. I didn't expect like every person to buy it, but I just made it because I thought it was kind of funny, and I feel like if other people wanted to find it funny, that they could get it too.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Who's your favorite player on the team right now? And maybe a follow-up question.
Right now, Jason Tatum is my favorite player, the Celtics.
All right. I know I have a personal connection to Jason Tatum. I made him laugh one time.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so not really a personal connection one time, but I went to his basketball camp one year, and as we were doing the high five line, I told him I'd see him in the NBA, and he laughed at me. So it was more of a laugh at me than laugh with me. But
Hey, you know what? That's something though. You got
yeah,
something.
exactly.
It's funny
Yeah,
though.
if you need to tell him anything, I kind of know him now. So yeah.
Okay, all right. I'll try to, see if we can sneak us into the games that are coming up. They're letting fans back in so soon, hopefully.
Yeah, I could probably get you in. He'd probably remember me.
All right. Sounds good.
And then like all time, who's your favorite player as well?
All time, it'll probably have to be Isaiah Thomas. Like I love like Larry Bird and like Paul Pierce and Garnett and Ray Allen and them, but Isaiah Thomas was the one that really got me like super interested in basketball. So I'd have to say IT.
Yeah, he was really fun to watch.
Yeah, I hope he gets another chance in the NBA soon. He was doing good in the Team USA thing, so I hope he gets another chance soon.
Yeah, we're from Maine, so we kind of hoping that maybe he gets on the Celtics, starts in the G League, because that's where the
the Maine Red Claws. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
See, there you go. That'd be cool to see him back in there.
Yeah, exactly. Tickets are not Celtics prices either, so that might be kind of nice.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have to spend like $100 on a ticket, but yeah, I hope he gets another chance. And if it's with the Celtics, I'll really be happy to see that too, because I think he deserves it.
If you were the I'll go. If you're like the GM of the Celtics right now, what would the move be?
If I'm the GM of the Celtics right now, I think my biggest thing is figuring out what they want to do with this team this year. Because like for a while before, as of recently, they were kind of struggling with just like pretty much everything. Kemba Walker wasn't the same, and everyone was kind of struggling without Marcus Smart. And I feel like if they really are seriously trying to compete this year, then I say make a trade for a guy like Nikola Vucevic, or just like another center that'll really help them, because that's pretty much their biggest problem. Their biggest problem is either their center or their bench. So, and if they don't feel like it, then maybe they don't move. They don't make a move now, and they make a move in the off season. And try to improve the team from there.
Who do you think their best big is right now?
right now, just watching him play, it's Robert Williams because Time
Yeah,
Lord's been
he is.
going off
Yeah.
as of recently. He's just different because like Daniel Tice, like he's good, you know, he can shoot sometimes, you know, but people just kind of leave him wide open, so it makes him look like a better shooter than I personally think he is. But Time Lord's just like every time he's on the court, it just feels like they have more energy than when he's not.
Going into kind of like all of the TikToks and stuff like that, did you have any like role models or anything that to kind of base what you were doing off of, or were you just kind of going for it?
So like I always like I've been following like I remember there was a lot of like YouTubers that I really liked that like did like sports kind of comedy stuff. Like there's this guy Urinating Tree who like he made all these videos about like, you know, teams that were like pretty bad, and he would pretty much just make like in-depth like histories as to why they were so bad and stuff like that. And there's this other guy, he's a Toronto Maple Leafs YouTuber, but I don't know if you guys know who Steve Dangle is. But what he does is he makes a video on YouTube after every Toronto Maple Leafs game. And those two were pretty much the thing that I really enjoyed because I really enjoyed like making like comedy out of sports. But also I kind of wanted to cover the Celtics after every game too. So those were probably two of the biggest influences that I had.
Should Kemba be traded? You gotta hit us with it. You gotta let us know.
You know, if you asked me a week ago, I would have said yes. But I mean, he's improving now, and I guess it depends on who we can get for him. If we have to trade Vucevic, if we're getting Vucevic, then maybe. But I don't know. It's tough now.
Yeah, no, you kind of wish that they just traded him a while ago, just so that you wouldn't have to go through that's
See,
such a tough
exactly.
decision. It'd be tough
Exactly.
to see him go when he's doing this well.
I know it's gonna be tough because also he has like that kind of big contract, so hopefully he can get something out of it too. If Vucevic is because I saw like reports where it was like Kemba was gonna get traded for Vucevic or they were talking about it, and I'm like, I mean, I hate to see him go, but I mean it'll be nice to have Vucevic on this team.
Yeah, no, probably could use a big guy.
Oh yeah.
Although I feel every year, like it just seems like, oh, the Celtics are interested in this guy or that guy, and like it never seems to happen. Danny always says like, oh yeah, we're interested in bringing this guy in, and then nothing ever happens of it, and it's getting kind of repetitive, I think.
It's terrible, man. It's terrible. I remember when they had all that draft capital, and like every year was like, oh, are the Celtics gonna trade for Paul George or Jimmy Butler or Anthony Davis or Karl Anthony Towns or now Nikola Vucevic or Jeremy Grant? Like I've learned to not get my hopes up at this point. Where it's like if it happens, I think I'd be more shocked if they actually make a trade than if they don't. So that's pretty much where I am with Danny Ainge on that front. But you know, hopefully they can do something. I mean, they made the Kyrie Irving trade work, so at least that was something that he did.
If Kemba was to be traded, could you see like Pritchard starting, or maybe Smart, or both of them?
Honestly, if Kemba did get traded, I feel like they would probably start Smart again because I remember earlier in the year when Kemba was out, Smart started most of the games and he did pretty well as the starting point guard. Granted, he didn't shoot very well, but his ability to pass helped the Celtics a lot. And I remember there was like a stat where it was like Smart and Jaylen Brown. Smart generated the most buckets for Jaylen Brown in the league, or something. It was something like that where Smart's passing and being able to find guys was pretty much the reason why the Celtics were so good earlier in the year, and why it was so devastating when he was out.
Yeah, no, and let's get a quick prediction in there. How long is this streak gonna last for the Celtics?
I don't know. I'd like it to last kind of long, but they play the Nets the first game after the All-Star break. So, I mean, if they can beat the Nets, then who knows? But I know they got a tough schedule coming up. They got the Nets, and I think they got Houston, and they got the Bucks. So, I mean, hopefully this streak can last a little longer. But I mean, if they don't beat the Nets, I guess I can't be that too disappointed in them. But you know. I'd like to see it go longer though. If they can go to like maybe like 8, That'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, do you play fantasy basketball and like just like get all the Celtics guys or?
I played a little bit. I don't know. I'm not really that big into it. I used to be really into it. I used to like be able to set the lineups and like follow everything. And now like I'm in a league, but like I pretty much just kind of like set whoever I set at this point who's on my team because I just don't have enough time to keep up with everything right now with school and stuff going on. So I'm trying, but yeah, I still kind of do it. I still follow it a little bit.
Speaking of like fantasy basketball, do you play any like NBA 2K, like my team or my league or anything like that?
Honestly, I don't really play much 2K. When I did play it, I would try to play my career, and like my problem was I was just not that good at the game. Like I was sucked because I didn't really know the build. I was just like, hey, look, I'm just gonna build like a point guard who can shoot threes, and that'll work. And then when you try to play other people online, you realize that these guys are like 6'10" and being able to pull up from half court. So that I kind of stopped playing that. Now I just kind of do like just like the my leagues and just kind of like the offline stuff because I just enjoy doing that.
All right. I think that's all the questions that we have. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Hey, no problem, man. Anytime. I appreciate you asking me to come on.
No, it's I'm glad that you came on because we had a cold streak. We were asking people to come on and then finally we got one back, and it was just especially because it's someone that like we've seen on our For You page being Celtics fans and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Really appreciate
well, yeah,
it.
I'm glad you guys asked, but anytime if you need anybody else to come in, I got you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
No problem.